Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and this is Bames here again. And you guys might be wondering that we have a guest on the channel. So my guest is popularly called Otumba. You guys should ignore the Daniel you guys are seeing on the screen. We will address him as Otumba today. Can you guys not see that it looks like Otumba? But yes, I'm gonna allow Daniel introduce himself in a bit. But before that, I'm just gonna quickly explain why we have him on the channel today. So Daniel is currently a student in the United Kingdom, and he currently works as a data analyst with his 20 hours rule. And I said to him that this is really inspiring. Come and talk to us on the channel. So this is the reason why we have Otumba here today. I don't know why I keep calling you Daniel. So can you please introduce yourself?
All right. Thank you very much, James. My name is Daniel. You don't my friends call me Otumba, so everybody calls me Otumba anyways. Or
I've told
my
you you're
go,
going to go by Otumba on this channel today.
yeah. uh, or I am a data scientist. I think I've pivoted from data analysis to data science now.
Ah,
I
Maga.
work now. I'm also pivoting into software development and all of that. I work as a business intelligence manager sometimes. And I'm also a student doing my master's in data science in the UK, as
Okay.
James already said. So I think that's
Okay.
a quite brief introduction about myself.
Yes, don't give
My
us too much
uncles are,
because we'll be asking questions, so don't give us too much.
all right, no
Okay,
problem.
so as you guys have heard, is a master student and is doing masters in data science. I was going to ask that, but he has answered that already, so that's absolutely fine. And then what I'm just going to be doing today is, as we all know, we know that as a student, you're only allowed 20 hours during term time. And this is someone that goes to school and he has managed to bag a data role, with his 20 hours restriction. So I'm just going to be asking Daniel a few questions and he's just going to be answering. And, we hope that this video is actually going to inspire someone out there. So the first thing I want to ask Otumba is that, what were you doing back home? For reference, we are both from Nigeria. So what were you doing back home?
Okay, so my last job was in a fintech slash bank industry. For Nigerians, you probably know Kuda Bank. So I
Yeah,
was the data analyst at Kuda
right.
Bank in charge of CX operations before I left Nigeria. That was my last job. I previously worked in different industries. I'd freelanced, I'd worked in an insurance company as in different multiple roles to be fair. But all through, I've focused on data analysis and I think that's where I am right now.
Right. And how many years experience do you have as a data analyst?
So I have if I'm counting, well, I wouldn't. Well, should I count internship? Well, I wouldn't
Yeah,
want to
yeah, yeah,
count
of
internship.
course.
Okay, but if I'm counting internship, I've been working as a data analyst since 2015, no 2016, beginning of
It's to
2016.
come
Yeah,
and
actually.
pitch my tent in your house.
So yeah, actually,
I'm
beginning of so
telling
you
you.
should, I mean, yeah,
Because
I
all
think
of
so.
us are trying to get this tech money. That's
Well,
cool.
okay, well, the tech money. I mean, I really don't know where you guys see the tech money, but okay, cool.
Please, let's not
But,
go in there.
but
So
yeah,
you have that's like 6 years
yeah, 6 years
plus
actually. Yeah, I'm
of
working at 6 years.
experience.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
six
good.
years actually. Yeah, 6 years.
Okay.
This year
So
I'm
when you
27.
knew that you were going to come into the UK, and did you plan ahead that, oh yes, this is what I'm going to do. I need to get a job as a data analyst. This my experience cannot waste. What exactly was like your thought process coming into the UK?
All right. For me, I think one thing I've always I've been very intentional about things.
Right,
Because I feel like, I mean, at a very young age, I think I started to understand what I wanted to do. I mean, from beginning, I mean, I knew already what I wanted to do with my life. I already knew what career path I
right,
wanted to follow. So I started internship. I actually, with a couple of my partners, we started to build a data consulting firm at the time back
right,
in uni, which I mean, we have made mistakes, we grew, we learned, we've transited into that, and we've gone, I mean, beyond all of that. So for me, I always knew that I wanted to be a data art scientist and to be a data consultant all my life. And I
right,
think I took intentional steps from uni, as far back as doing data science projects for undergrads, for
right,
postgraduate students, and all of that. So I think one thing I was probably for coming here was being very intentional. And
right,
so I mean, with the way the whole COVID factor came in, I had, I mean, so now. moving forward, I felt okay, cool. It's time for me to change. I want to go outside the country to do my master's in data science.
Right.
Uh, and being a data science, I also realized that yeah, I mean, there's nothing stopping you from because I had a cousin that actually did a master's in finance, and she actually worked as a financial analyst back in the UK, and this is as far back as 2010, when it was
Right.
actually a lot, when it was actually a lot harder. I felt okay. There's no reason why I shouldn't be able to do the same. So one thing I tried to do was as far back as when I applied for uni, and this
Right.
was in February of 2022, I started applying for jobs in the
Hmm.
UK. Yeah, jobs in the UK. Full time. To be fair, even when I started, I was just applying. I'll tell you
Right.
categorically. I mean, I applied for over 500 roles. Trust me.
Everybody says
Just
that. It's
as in,
crazy.
it's. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but trust me, I
Wow.
did. So I started in February 2020, and because I had not moved to Kuda at the time. I was working with Linkage Assurance PLC, a very lovely place actually.
Mm.
I felt it was time for me to pivot into the next phase of my life. I want to grow as a data scientist. I want to, I mean, the top of my game in my industry. So I felt,
Yeah.
okay, cool. What I needed to do was to look beyond. So I started applying for jobs outside. I got a lot of no's, got a lot of rejections, got a lot of interviews. That I mean,
Mm.
when I told them I'm in Nigeria, so oh, okay, no, 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 we want somebody there. When I told them, I mean, there are even a lot of things, a lot of roles I could not apply for because of the IP ban and stuff like that. So
Right.
it was a rocky road, but I felt like okay, no, whatever it's going to take. I know people are bagging these data science roles in the
True.
UK, so there's nothing stopping me. I mean, because I think myself, I think of myself as somewhere that I think I like to, what's the word? I like to never think anything is impossible. So I just kept applying. And I was going to have it. I bagged the Kuda Science, which was a career changing experience for me. Learned a
Right.
lot from a lot of people. But I said, okay, cool. I still want to come to the UK. I still want to progress. I still want to move forward. So
Mm.
I still kept on applying. Anyways, when I decided to move to the UK, I still kept on applying. And when I got here, I mean, I would. So I'm a Christian, yeah, and you can call me old school, but I strongly believe in grace and prayers.
Right.
So because when I think about it, don't get me wrong, I've been intentional, I've done my own work, I'd
True.
read, I'd knew my
Mm-hmm.
onions, I mean, but coming here, I went for a couple of interviews, series of interviews, and I got a lot of no's to be fair, but and I
Mm.
didn't get the job immediately, actually. So yeah, I think it's very important for me to mention. I did get the job before I came here, and I got a job.
Really?
Yeah, I did get a job before I came here. And
Wow.
upon getting here, okay, we said this day is the day of resumption. So I resumed, and I'm being told that, oh, sorry, blah 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 blah. I mean, so I was, and this was the first time I actually heard about it. I was slapped with the force majeure clause, and first day of resumption, they told me that, oh, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to terminate your employment, blah 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 blah, some visa
Really?
issues, all of that. Yeah, it was, and for
Wow.
somebody that was just, this was my first time coming to the UK. It was a really really, I mean, it was a really really hard
Mm.
experience for myself. But I mean, as everybody would say, you just keep moving. So I mean, and it was difficult. I'm not even going to lie to you because for like the next 4 week, I was not even going to do anything. I wasn't applying. I wasn't doing. I was just wanted to stay at home. I didn't even go to school
Yeah.
because it was very difficult. I couldn't understand why you would tell me I have a job and I'm coming to UK on that basis, made plans on that basis. Very
Yeah.
good and very robust offer. And I get to UK and I tell him that nah, sorry, blah 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 blah. I mean, you learn from these things, anyways. I took it as a learning point. So after like a week of mourning or weeping my way, anyways,
Yeah.
I said, okay, fine, it's time for me to actually, I mean, Christian Athens is not going to pay the bills. So I thought it was time for me to
Right.
start. So it was time for me to start looking forward to new things. And I kept on applying. And and one thing I tell people is very intentional that you must be very intentional about building a network of
Mm.
friends because all the roles I've ever gotten in my entire life, all the roles I've gotten in my entire life, I got the what's the word? I got let me see, I got the interview through
Mm-hmm.
somebody. Yeah. So a
Right.
friend of a friend, okay, a friend sends me
Yeah.
okay,
Networking.
Daniel, yeah, exactly. So I tell people one thing, I mean, if you know me, I am very big on networking. Yeah. So I could see a bunch of new guys. Oh, what's up, guys? Let's exchange contacts, let's exchange our LinkedIn and pages and all of that.
Mm.
Because you it's just like, I mean, if you surround yourself about people in the same and similar industries as you are, obviously because they're going to get the same opportunities, it's easier for opportunities that you want to come your side. So
True.
as a data scientist, I want to surround myself around data scientists, data analysts, people that are in the same field and
Right.
industry as I am. They'll be more likely to send opportunities my way. So good thing that I was speaking to a lot of people. I spoke to my cousins, spoke to family and friends, applied, sent my CVs everywhere.
Hmm.
And it wasn't easy because there were a lot of times you just get no's. I got no's, plenty no's. And at some
Hmm.
point I thought, okay, maybe I should just pick up another road here because I needed to start paying bills and all of that. So I did pick up another
Yeah.
road, by the way. But I got one thing also. I think I got luckily. I mean, I just called somebody. I just got a call that, oh, don't know what are you doing tomorrow? Come to my office. Let's have a chat. I saw your CV. I saw your portfolio, all of that. And I went
Right.
and it was very impressed. It was very impressed, and I got the job. Honestly, it
Hmm.
was so. It was so. This was on a Wednesday. I said, well, then I can resume on Friday. I'm
Uh-uh.
like, yeah, actually, yeah.
Of course.
And so he said, I said, we've not discussed terms and finances and pay and all of that. He said,
Yeah.
don't worry, whatever you want, just come. Just come. We'll talk about it.
Really?
Yeah. So I'll send you an offer. The HR will send you an offer. You resume. As I said, like, I can't resume on Friday because I remember I had school that Friday. I said Monday. He said, okay, cool. Over the weekend, the HR is going to send you an offer. If you don't like it, blah, blah, blah. We'll discuss about it. But just resume on Monday. Whatever the offer
Hmm.
is, we'll fine tune it.
Grace.
Yeah, exactly. But just resume on Monday. And yeah,
Yeah.
that's actually how I got my current role in the UK. Yeah.
Right. That
Yeah.
was
It was,
quite a journey. Like
yeah.
a lot of
Yeah. I
people that I
mean,
talk to, they say that I know someone that applied to 700 jobs and literally got called by 10 people. And you know the funny thing, she got 3 roles out of these 10. But you can imagine that she applied to 700 jobs.
yeah. So
That's
you see,
crazy.
the thing is, if not, and now that, I mean, I tell people like their jobs, but also their, I mean, not every job is for you, to be honest.
True.
You think about it, and there's several learning points I've taken note of along this process. The thing about it is that when you're out of the job, there's this desperation that
True.
you must get the job at every point in time. And I promise you, employers can smell it. I don't know
Mm,
how, I don't know where, but you notice that you tend to get more offers and more job interviews when you have a job than when you actually out of a job.
true.
So it's a very, I mean, there are a lot of learning points. I'm very grateful that I actually had to pass through all of this. I promise you, I did work in supermarket. I took shifts. I did everything. Not that
I was
I
gonna
did
ask,
everything.
so you
Yeah,
did shifts as well. So you
yeah.
have your fair share of shifts.
Yes, I did. I mean, I mean, I would tell you, I'm a proud ex-colleague of Tesco. Lovely people there. I mean, when I left,
Right.
it was really emotional. I worked there for about 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah, it
Okay.
was really emotional. But I mean, I did work there. I did even. I picked shit from couple. I did clean
Yeah.
toilet, all of that. So that's. I mean, I
Good.
did all of
So
that.
that's what I
So
wanted to ask as well. That did you
yeah,
pick shifts? So as far as you have your eye on the goal, you
yeah, I
know what
did.
you are doing.
Hmm,
It's okay to
hmm.
pick shifts. It's very
Uh,
okay.
CM, let me tell you categorically, yeah. I tell people there's nothing wrong. There is nothing wrong. I know people that, I mean, I did pick shifts, to be fair. I'll be the first time I go here. I picked shifts, went on bartending jobs, went
Mm,
on, I was on the till at Tesco. I mean, I did every other thing because I felt okay. In as much as I knew what I wanted. I think I've always been very clear about what I wanted to have. I knew that okay, data science is one thing I want to stand out in, irrespective of
yeah.
wherever I am. I think I said, okay, this is just going to be temporary, and I took the role.
True. True.
For me, it was very difficult adjusting to the entire thing because it was cold. It was cold. It
You
was,
don't
so
like
many
code.
restrictions. I mean, guy, I'm Nigerian, so what do you expect? I mean, it was a lot of adjusting, but I did, and I'm glad I did because it gave me a different perspectives to things in the UK. I think it actually, I feel like if I'd gotten the job I got, I wouldn't have appreciated pounds or money as
Yeah.
much as I do right now
True.
because I understand how hard it is to make that money in
Hmm.
those roles.
Not
So when
easy.
you
Oh.
get it exactly, I mean,
Especially we that we live in
sometimes
this London. It's not
exactly,
easy.
and because like, and you know the
Hmm.
cost of living and everything, so it's really quite
Yeah.
difficult and all of that.
Right.
But yeah,
Thank you so much for sharing that. So it brings me to
mhm,
my next question, which was like, what platforms were you using? Was it LinkedIn? Was it Indeed? Me personally, I really like Indeed. It's
mhm,
just recently that LinkedIn is really entering my eye, but for some reasons, I
mhm.
feel like I really like Indeed. So what platforms did you use?
So I'll give you a list of platforms I use because I used everything to be fair. I mean,
Right.
I used LinkedIn, I used Indeed, I used Total Jobs, I used
Mm-hmm.
CV Library. I used what's the name of this one? I used Angel.co. I used Remote
I've
Worker.
never heard of Angel.co.
Yeah, so it's more of a development role for tech development
Okay.
more than data science. Actually, you get a lot of data science role also because data science is not people into tech development and all of that. But it was for because like I said, I could work in those capacities. I've worked as a project manager, I've worked as the I mean I've worked as a Python developer also. I can do all of that.
Yeah.
So I was just casting my hook into the ocean. Any fish we catch, anything to just come.
Yeah.
So I apply. I did Indeed. I did Total Jobs. But what I think the top three I would say for me was, and in this particular order was Total Jobs,
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, then LinkedIn. Yeah,
Okay.
that order.
I think
Total
we have
Jobs
something in
first,
common
Indeed.
with Indeed. I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
but
I
I feel
did.
like
Yeah, I
Indeed is
did.
really powerful.
Yeah. So in the UK, what I think in the UK, I think Indeed is the most I mean, and I stand to be corrected, please.
Of course.
Uh, I think Indeed actually has it in the UK, to be fair, in terms of reachability, because almost I mean the big recruitment companies is and all of
Mm,
that they use Indeed. So literally,
yeah.
you want to be
Yeah.
on Indeed, to be fair.
That's good. That's good. Well
Yeah.
done. And in regards to your CV, we all know that like Nigerian format is different from UK format. So is that something that you also like? Did you tweak? I know that you mentioned portfolio. So was your portfolio link on your CV or things like that?
All right. Let me tell you the honest truth here, and I like to be as realistic as possible about these things.
Mm,
I feel like in the UK, in my experience, and
mm,
I've attended about, if I'm correct, about 13 interviews, physical life interviews, since
mm.
I got to the UK. Yeah, 13 interviews. I've only been able to land two of those jobs.
Right.
Actually, three now because I just got a new offer. But
Are you saying you're changing jobs? See this guy. I need to
nah,
collect
nah,
money from you
I
after.
haven't. No, 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 no. I haven't made up my mind, and I'm not actually. I mean, because I'm quite content with where I am. I haven't made
Right.
up my mind to the decision, but yeah, I just got a new offer by the way. But
Congratulations.
thank you very much for that. So I haven't made up my mind. It's still because I mean, you need to weigh the pros, long term, and all of that.
Of
Like I
course.
said, and this particular one even came when I wasn't exactly looking to be fair, because I'd gotten one I was quite comfortable.
Yeah.
And the pay is very all right and all of that. So I was okay, fine. Let me just stay here for the next couple of months and all of that. But yeah, so one thing I think yeah, and it also depends on what you're looking at. For tech people, I think what is most important is what you can actually do. Now, don't get me wrong, people,
Mm-hmm.
there are better experts than myself that will tell you that took your CV to this. And I did. Because at some point I took out what was irrelevant because I felt like I took out the noise from my CV. I did that
Mm,
myself, by the way. But I focused because I'd worked in HR before. I'd worked as an HR analyst. I'd worked as
mm.
in different capacities before. I thought, okay, this was going to be quite noisy to what I wanted, so I took out that bit. Uh, but one thing I realized in this UK, what is most important is experience.
True.
Most of them do not care about if you've gone to. In short,
True.
they don't care about if you've gone to uni, if you have five masters. I mean,
True.
compared to
Very true.
where we are from, you put your
It's
masters
certificates.
or
Yeah.
exactly, put everything. I have 15 masters, I have
True.
12 PhDs. Yeah, really, people don't really care about all of that. They just want to know
True.
what you can actually. Because
Bring to
I
the
spoke
table.
when I got my interview, and the two, I mean, they did. Yeah, look, they said, okay, we've gone through your interview, but we've read it. We think only what you can actually bring. That's all. So referencing, yeah, it's all right for you to. I mean, I've seen because now that I work in a capacity where I've had to interview people for employment because we're expanding and all of that.
Mm,
I've had to interview people and all of that. So I say loads and loads and loads of CVs. I promise you, there's certain CVs that I wouldn't call back
true.
because I can tell that you are definitely not ready. You do not take your time to draft this enough. You get so this is not. I'm not saying because people are not going to read your in CV and judge you based on that. That doesn't mean that you should do an half-baked rubbish and put it
Anyhow.
out there. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very important that you get that right. It's very very important, and I promise you. First things first, I will tell you the ideal format I would expect, or people employers generally in the UK will expect. So
Mm,
your name, that's all. Your name, your address, To be fair, your name, your address, your phone number, your name, your contact details, and your
Yeah.
address. Just a brief brief summary about what you are, and just a brief summary. My name is blah 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 blah. I've done this and this, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
and then your experiences, the most relevant up top, and obviously in the sequence of each of them you list, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like let's say I'm currently working as a role, I'm going to put that on top, then the follow like
Of
down
course.
as
Yeah.
So then at the bottom you can now put the next thing you put is your skills, what you can do, blah blah blah. Then the next thing and the last thing should be your educational background. Because
Education. Yeah.
yeah, I mean it is not. Don't get me wrong, it is quite significant here, but it's not as significant as your experiences. To be fair, yeah.
I
So
know.
that is that.
I
So
know. I
your
know
CV
that for
must
sure.
be
I know that for sure.
so.
As someone that's been in the, in the market trying to get a job, I've also had my fair share of
Yeah,
breakfast and all of that. So I
it's,
know for sure that experience is very important in this
yeah,
country,
actually,
and
yeah, very, very.
I agree with
And
that.
also, I also want the others. I think the others job to get in the UK is your first job. I promise
True,
you.
true. When
So
I
because,
changed job,
uh,
I wasn't
mhm,
looking as well. I
mhm,
wasn't
mhm.
looking, so I
Yeah.
can relate to
So
that.
I can assure you that if it takes you 5 months to get your first job in the UK, second job probably can take like about 2 3 months if you're looking. Because so and I don't blame them. UK employers generally, for lack, I wouldn't want to say this openly, but I'm looking for the way to put it as subtle as possible. UK
Yeah.
employers, they so let me explain to you. Let's say you say, okay, my name is Daniel Adrian. I've worked as a data scientist in
Mm.
ABC Limited in Nigeria. If that is going to score me, if that is that the same thing I've done there. If I say, okay, I've worked in ABC Limited in the UK, that is going to carry more weight than ABC
To
Limited.
be honest,
The same thing you've
I
done,
agree.
literally.
You know what I say to people?
The same
I
thing.
don't know if we should be saying this outside as well, but even like me, now, I used to work in a bank. And when I was applying, I did not put Nigeria. So I'm leaving you with that impression that it might be because there's
Yeah.
a branch here. So I'm leaving you with that impression that if I say,
Mhm.
is this one that is in the UK? Is
Exactly. So
when I might
because
get to interview, I'll tell you that, look, it's not
and
from here, oh,
exactly. I
but
mean,
at least it
when you
will
get
open way for
it
you.
open way for you exactly. The truth about it is that, and I don't blame them because policies are very different. I promise
Mm,
you, the way we do things here is different from the way things are being done at home. Very different. The banking policies, the taxation policies.
of
I mean,
course.
the foundational principles are basically much the same, but every other thing is
Yeah,
different. I promise you,
yeah,
the laws are different. The labor laws, the policies. I mean, the way the development skills. Like I said, the foundational principles are obviously the same. What is
yeah,
important for them, even the tools they use, the softwares they use here is quite different from what you've been using in Nigeria.
of
So
course.
I can understand why they would not really rate it. And to be honest,
If
it's just
we
like you
put it
telling me
that way. But
exactly,
yes,
just like
we'll learn on
driving.
the job.
You could be an expert driver in Nigeria and tell you that but I've been driving on the left hand side all your life. And I say, okay, yeah,
Mm,
I'm a speed racer. I drive. But they tell you that, okay, here we drive on the right hand side. We're gonna have to
yeah,
test you, which makes sense because even if driving is still driving, there's a slight difference between driving on the left hand side and driving on the right hand side. So that's
I
basically the way
agree.
it is here. So I want to encourage people that okay, it's going to be difficult your first job. You might be lucky you can get it to one day. I know people, and I'm telling you categorically, I have a friend that landed his first job as a tech developer, not even, and the guy earns double of what I earn in his first week here. Lucky guy. So you could be
Right.
that lucky, and also, I mean, I think about it like, and also you could be, I wouldn't say unlucky, you could be delayed. It takes you 3 months, but it would come
Yeah,
if you keep pushing. To be fair, it would come eventually.
true.
Yeah.
True. And also I can relate because I think I'm one of those people that was lucky as well. I got my first job in 2 weeks after arriving in this country, even though I'm not in tech, but
Yeah.
at least you just apply and apply and apply.
Yeah.
And then
Because
what
they're
I also want
jobs.
to ask, there are jobs, so
Yeah, there
that's not
are
even a lie.
loads of jobs. You just need to
That's
put
not a
yourself
lie.
strategically out there. There are
Yeah.
loads and loads of jobs actually.
Yeah. And what I want to also say is, what I want to ask is, you've gone through various interviews. So, what is
Mhm.
that one, let's say, two things that you would say somebody should take to interview with them? Like that thing that you think is very helpful when you're going into interview.
All right. So one thing, general, this is even from Nigeria. Three things I
Mm,
like to do. Three things I like to do when I go to interview. If I'm opportune to know who is going to interview me, I mean, some interviews will tell you this person is going to interview you.
yeah.
one thing I like to do is that, first of all, I go to the person's LinkedIn page. I'm sorry, I will do that. I'll try to check for similar interest in myself and the person.
True.
And because interviewing is more of selling yourself, to be fair. And
Mm,
people, we tend to underplay the psychological stance of interviewing. I'll tell you categorically, I'm more inclined to like what somebody I feel connected to is saying, as someone I just feel is not connected. I'm not
true.
connected to. And so first thing I'll do, let's say they say Mr. ABC is interviewing me for a role at XYZ. I go and check out
Mm,
Mr. ABC, check out his previous experiences, check out what he has done, check out his achievement and all of that. So that I'm going to prepare, try to align interest with that guy. That's one. The second thing I'm going to check is what XYZ does, right?
mm,
What XYZ does and all of that. What XYZ does, what they've been doing, check their past is to check their finances, check their books and all of that. Then the final thing I do is that, okay, the job role
mm-hmm.
that I'm asking, what do I need to do that would not be the bare minimum on the job role? I don't know if that makes sense. So they'll tell you that, okay, uh, this job role is supposed to reconcile for finance assistant, I'm supposed to reconcile A, B, C, D, D,
Yeah.
D, 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 this. So in my head, I'm going to take, okay, I'm going to do research, okay, what can I do to kind of beat their expectations? So the question that every standard interviewer will ask, okay, what value are you going to bring to the team? So you must be able
Yeah.
to sell, okay, blah blah blah. This is the job role, and this is what I think I can do. This is what I think I can do. This is what this is what I feel like this is this. So basically, I think it's very important that you do your homework. Understand. Don't never go into an interview blind, except you don't want the
True.
job anyways.
Yeah.
But
Except from that.
exactly, but if you want never go to an interview blind, it's better that you know your homework, research about the company, research about their problems. Research, I mean, you could literally do a SWOT analysis. I
Culture,
always
what
do
culture,
exactly what culture and the cultural differences, all of that. Me, I always do a SWOT analysis. I look for the company's strengths, the company's weaknesses, opportunities, threats. So a guy that feels okay, once you start highlighting the opportunities for this company, prospective company, the short-term and long-term opportunities, short-term and long-term threats, the current strengths, the current weaknesses, how you think you can key into a lot of these four areas, bring
yeah.
improvements and all of that. I promise you, even if the guy said, they would think twice. It's very important that you leave an impression, and from the very beginning, try to connect with your
True.
interviewer. It's
It's
a
not war,
it's not
literally.
exactly. So and I also
Converse.
understand
Yeah.
exactly. Just try to build a connection with you. Speak to the person as freely as possible. Interviewing, I mean, it's difficult. I know, and I promise you, this is not me. I
Mm.
don't want to sound hypocritical. It's when you need a job desperately. It's
It's
difficult for
nerve-wracking.
it's
Yeah.
difficult to kind of you will be shaking. You tend to because I need this job desperately. But
Yeah.
one thing, if you can actually beat that and try to connect and speak as freely as possible, ask questions. It's supposed to be a two-way street, and especially in the UK, a lot of the employers are they're quite friendly. They try to make you as comfortable
True.
as possible compared
True.
to where they're coming from. I won't
True.
say anything more than that, but you get my
True.
point. There are a lot more, and they're a lot more friendly. They ask questions. They want you to converse, tell them, and literally speak. That's all. I tell people that. I mean, one of my cousins, my mentors, also, she tells me something, and I think that has kind of changed my life and the way I look at things. She tells me
Mm.
that, Daniel, what's the worst that can happen? You get a
You
no,
not get the job.
you get a no, and you move on, right?
Exactly.
That's one thing I do. And one thing I do after every interview, things I feel like the questions I feel like I answered that I remember because you don't remember everything, to be honest. The
Yeah.
questions I remember, I write them down. What I said, what I think I could have said better. And you know the way this thing works now. When it's just like arguing in normal arguing football or something. When you're arguing with
Yeah.
somebody, there's sometimes that after like 2-3 hours or a day or 2 days, you remember that I should have said this. So when I remember those kind of things, I just pen them
Yeah.
down so I know that the next interview I'm coming in a lot more prepared. I know more, all of that. So I mean, and there are several. I mean, there's no one template fits all.
True.
I promise you, some of these things, people. I mean, people can. There are people that they are gifted. They walk into a room blind and they sell themselves. I
True.
mean, you. It's also important that you know what works for you. To be fair, me, I
Yeah.
know that. I know that what works for
You
me is
need to
understanding
prepare.
exactly. I
Yeah.
need to. What I personally, I need to prepare. I need to be able to. So whenever any question is being thrown, I'm not exactly lost or confused. And also, I tell people there is nothing wrong in saying I don't know. I promise
Abi.
you, there's nothing wrong in saying I don't know. So basically, blah 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 blah. Tell them, oh, well, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, you can be very honest. CM, no employee, sorry, no employer expects anybody to know everything. You can't, it's not, I mean, don't get me wrong, that doesn't excuse you to not know the basic things. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But if it's better for you to say, I don't know that way to talk gibberish.
True.
Trust me.
I
Yeah,
agree with you.
that's my own take on interviews. Prepare research about the company. It's always important. So I tell you, always do a SWOT analysis of the company you're interviewing for. Understand. So there are two things. Every company is in an industry. Understand the industry. Understand the top players of the industry. Understand the bottom players. Understand why they are the top players. Understand why they are the bottom players. Now, also understand where the company you are interviewing for is in the industry. So there might be top players, there might be middle players, there might be bottom players. Understand that. Then you now do a SWOT analysis of the industry, do a SWOT analysis of the company. Now do your research on how you feel like a company can actually improve. So once you understand all of these things, you are a lot better prepared. And it's also important that you have content. I mean, develop yourself enough, get the adequate skills and all of that. It's very important. So beyond all of this, if you can sell yourself, you know the SWOT analysis, and you don't have the technical expertise to back it up, I promise you're going to lose the job, even if you get the job.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really, I've really enjoyed our talk today, and trust me, even me, I've learned one or two things, because nobody's an island of knowledge. We learn every day. So definitely I've learned one or two things, and from everything that you said today, there are a few things that I picked, which is you being intentional. Also, breakfast is, I don't know why I keep saying breakfast, but unfortunately
breakfast.
it's part of the job process.
I tell you, I've worked in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've actually had 6 jobs all my life. Yeah, 6 jobs. And I promise you, I am not exaggerating. I promise you, I've applied for over 1,000 roles. I promise you. I'm not exaggerating. Like,
Crazy.
I know it sounds outrageous, but between 2021 and 2022, I've applied like as if my life depended on it.
Of course.
And I got a lot of, see, at a point there, you be getting some notes. You say, I applied for this job. I can't remember.
Are they doing me? Is this village people?
I'm like, oh, and it's very ridiculous. You apply for a job, they will not say it after like 3 months. You now get unfortunately.
Yeah. Please,
I'm like,
keep your unfortunately.
I mean, so you and it's not as easy as it sounds. And I tell people, and I try to empathize.
It's draining as well.
It's draining mentally, because at that point you start to think about it. Am I not good enough? What are these people seeing that I'm not seeing?
Yeah.
I tell you, a lot of times, it's not you. A lot of times they just, I mean, there are algorithms that read your CVs and all of that. A lot of times it is not. I mean, I personally, somebody has left the pool of an interview because the person misspelled an address. So let me give you context. I was in an interview, like an interview for a particular role, and we needed the person to be in a particular postcode area in the UK, right? And the person put, it was misspelled. So instead of 5, I think the person put 4 or something, right? And the person was massively qualified. And the person did not get a job because of that.
Wow.
So later on, the person reached out to us again, and the person reached out to us and said, okay, blah, 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 blah. Why did I not get the job? So also, if you can, because a lot of these things are a lot of the unfortunately mails are automated, so you cannot reply. But if you can, it's very fine for you to ask why you do not. It's very fine.
Yeah.
After all, you've lost the job already. They cannot come and flog
what
you.
kind exactly?
Ask them why did you not get the job, so you can improve. And these are things that you have to be intentional about. Personally, when I get news and I can reply, because most of them you can't actually reply because they're like automated news. But if you can reply, I send them, okay, hi, thank you very much for your response. It is, I mean, I feel very sad to hear this, but I understand your decision. But can you help me understand better why I was not picked for this role and what I could do better to improve my chances of getting the role next time, or a similar role next time? Simple as that. Half of them would not reply. Some of them, 1 or 2 of them would reply. The ones that reply, you already know that, oh, okay, cool, this is what I need to improve on.
Yeah.
And one thing I do is that if you check my notes app on my phone, I have tons and tons. I've applied for jobs. So that I have different formats of different things. So once I know I already have templates for everything. Like
Mm,
I have like so once I'm applying for a job, I have this. I just copy paste edit. You get so because I've applied for so much roles in my life, I already have so much thing to say about myself. Also, I tell people that final thing I'm going to say to this: nobody, and I'm blaming you, blame me because you can't
mm,
go to the market today and they tell you that oh, pepper is £5, and you say this pepper is £5. No, I want to pay £10 for it. Have you ever
mm.
done it? Nobody ever done it. No,
No
worst case
way.
scenario, no way. Worst case scenario is okay. You pay the £5, or which is very similar. You say, can I pay £4 for it, or can I pay three
As
pounds
in
for it?
it.
Do you get? So that means that nobody increases the value you attribute to yourself.
True.
Nobody will tell you if you tell you that I am this. Nobody will say, oh no, you're better. Nah.
True.
The average human being likes to take advantage of the second person. So it's important that you understand your value and not try to rubbish yourself.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's quite difficult, especially when you're trying to get into your first job. But I promise you, an employer would tell whether or not you're confident or not. It
True.
smells. It's you can feel it from the person's aura. So yeah, I hope I've answered your question
You've answered
reasonably.
all my question, and like I
Yeah.
said, I've actually really enjoyed this session with you. And I'm coming to your DM. You see this segment that you are shopping? I am coming
Oh,
to your DM.
please, please, please,
So
please, please,
yes,
please,
guys,
please.
Danny has really blessed us with a lot of information, and like I said,
Please.
even me, I have learned a lot, and there are things I'm going to be taking away. So from everything that you have said, be intentional, be persistent. If you're a Christian or you're a Muslim, pray to your God, because he also did that, and
Yeah.
network is very important. And we are very grateful for gracing this channel, Otuba. And
Thank you very much.
I think I've posted your video one place in this channel before, and
Oh,
hopefully
you
we'll
have?
get
Oh,
to
yeah,
see you.
yeah, 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 yeah. I
Yeah,
think
when we went
you
to
did. Yeah,
Manu.
we went to Manchester.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, actually,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, so maybe we'll see you again on this channel. Thank you
Yeah,
very much for
always,
gracing
always.
this. I'm really
No
grateful.
problem.
And have a
I'm always
nice
happy to
evening.
help.
Okay.
And you too. Take care.
Bye, guys.